Sapna, because we've been trained in corporate where the ma'am is not very comfortable anymore in hearing it out. So just call me Sapna.
Uh-huh.
I should be good with that. And tell me, I think I've spoken enough about myself, but I will give you a short introduction. I'm Sapna Jhawer. I'm a proud Marwadi. Been
Yeah.
working in the software industry for 20 years now. And I did my engineering from REC Bhalki. And then I did my, multiple other things. And then I started working, and I'm very passionate about women empowerment. I'm very passionate about women in STEM. I'm very passionate about mentorship. I'm very passionate, and I make sure that I'm able to contribute to the economy as much as I can and educate people about top line, bottom line, how their product is impacting the entire world. I can go on, but I will cut it short.
That is actually very beautiful. And since we have spoken before, I know exactly the amazing energy and the amazing person that you are. But for our audience, I would love to let them know that Sapna ma'am is invited for her amazing leadership skills and the amazing ideas she's going to impart us in the following podcast. Talking about it, the amazing work you have done, you have led transformations worth $50 million. Firstly, very, very big amount. How did you build the confidence to handle something of that scale?
Well, it wasn't like a day one, I got the confidence, right?
Yeah.
It was like a years and years of practice, the failures, the lessons. I think the biggest credit goes to the team. I think when you train the team with the right you give the support to the team with right trainings, you give them right controls, you give them right uh, balance of the work as well as their personal life, you give them enough amount of tools and other things, you enable them. I think things happen. So it's not me who's doing it, it's the entire team which has pulled off the weight. So I think that is what has given the confidence for the entire team, and me being their supporter to be able to pull off such kind of transformation. Because it's when you talk about transformation, more than the dollar, more than the P&L, it is the journey. You take the entire team along, like the team which is enabling the transformation and the team which is going through the transformation. It's not easy, changing your habits, changing something which you've been doing for years, you've been practicing it, getting that altered and changes is not easy. So I think all the credit goes to everybody.
That's actually beautiful. And I feel that engineering is indeed a very data driven sector. So, how do you ensure that that aspect of being very technical and data driven is balanced with the other soft skills that a leader needs to have?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would want to utilize your podcast medium to tell that empathy doesn't mean you don't hold people accountable. Empathy simply means, or probably being a leader, simply means that you are stepping into somebody's shoes to ask the right, using the right words, you ask the questions. So it's like you cannot be going back and saying somebody's, I'll give you a story. So I had a colleague of mine whose father was going through cancer treatment, and he was up the entire night in the hospital, and next day he had a very critical information to be sent out. And in the morning he said, he actually told in the team that I'm stuck, I cannot make it. So if you wouldn't have given the data, we wouldn't have been able to take them to the next step. At the time, as a leader, I think I have a wonderful team. So the entire team pitched in at morning 4 o'clock. They went in, they digged up the data, they prepared everything, and by the time we were at 9 o'clock, we were able to give the presentation. So the reason I'm telling you this story is because it's not about the field or whatever, like be it logistics, be it your engineering, be it, which is very heavily, technical
Data driven.
driven
Yes.
or data driven industries. It's more of what you build, what kind of culture you build in the team, that you're able to pull things up when the teams are down or when the people are down. That is what actually is the soft skill aspect or the empathy aspect,
Mhm.
which keeps everybody awake. And the second thing which I want to tell you with the medium of the story is that he was accountable. That's the reason he did not show up he did not say at 9 o'clock that, you know
Yeah.
what, guys, I cannot do this. He actually messaged in the midnight saying, guys, I'm in really bad trouble. I need help. And can you help me? And people jumped in and helped him, right? So it was, and because everybody was so collaborative, everybody knew each other's work, they were able to pull things off. So now, what does this mean? This means that irrespective of what happens, you're doing scenario planning. Like if what is
Mm,
the worst case scenario which could happen, scenario one,
yeah.
scenario two, scenario three, and then this is all nothing but data, right? Okay,
Yeah.
scenario one, somebody falls sick. This is how we're going to be dealing with it. Scenario two, that we are expecting 10 people to do certain things and only 6 of them do it. What do we do? So all of this is nothing but data. So all of that scenario planning actually is a part of your entire team collaboration.
True. Wow, that actually sounds just something I would actually see coming from your end. And to be honest, I loved the first statement that being empathetic does not mean that you're not accountable. That first statement is very important and something I would say we should remember, because sometimes I feel there's a mix of the concepts where we're like, oh, you're not being empathetic, when it's just, hey, you could have just told us and we would have done it if you were not able to, in simple words. And your example was just perfect as to how that person ensured that he did not hold everyone back due to his situation. So he took accountability. He's like, oh my God, I understand we still have 5 hours. It's a weird time, but if I'm messaging now, there's still chance. And it did work out.
Yes.
So I hope that everyone is able to remember this statement that being empathetic does not mean not being accountable. And I personally feel that the way you have worked across so many sectors, be it retail, tech, ed tech, I feel you have developed a lot of skills. So, what were the major skills that were transferable from different sectors and
Yeah.
adaptable?
Yeah. So my focus as a leader has been always people, tech, and business.
Yeah.
So irrespective of the sector you are, these are the three key aspects. Like you've been in education technology, you've been hardcore engineering or technology, or you are into the technology which supports retail. You are always dealing with people. You're always dealing with technology. You're always dealing with business. So I think a combination of these three. You'll have to give me a pause for a moment. Sorry. So take it. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Okay. So where was I? We were talking
You
about what are the skills which are transferable. So I think, irrespective of which domain, yes, there are domain specific things, there are domain specific, nuances which you need to learn. As in when you are learning a new domain or you're trying to get into a business of a new domain, but the business and technology is something which is like a core thread of irrespective of which sector you get into. So I think learning that is something which has been transferable, and obviously, it's not like one person is the same as the other person, but there are situations where you can draw inspiration from, and you can deal with those situations. I
true.
hope I answered it in a way which makes
Yes.
more sense. I'm just trying to make sure I speak in a way that it really appeals to your audience.
It did. And so I personally loved the way you explained it as to how the skills differ from sector to sector, but the core skills still remain the same. Did I get it correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Now, to follow that up, what exactly do you think are those core skills that we are referring to here?
Yeah, so one is obviously the majority is a soft skills part, right? And in certain situational leadership is a key aspect of my entire leadership journey, where you get into a situation and it's not like you are always authoritative or you are always very directive. You are always laid back and you let the team drive. Being able to assess the situation and being able to understand what would work the best and being able to get into that role and then let the team do what they have to do. But for example, the other day, the story which I was talking about, the team was trying to do, I had to do dual role. I had to tell, okay, who can do what and how can we enable this? And then I had to, step back and let team do the magic. So if let me pull you on
Yeah.
into another story here. So the core skills for anything, for example, when you are studying subjects, right?
Yeah.
You're studying mathematics, you're studying science, you're studying languages. The study aspect is different, correct? You're learning something new in everything.
Yeah.
But how do you study or how do you learn remains the same.
True.
Like somebody is a visual learner, somebody
Yeah.
is somebody who's like listening. Only if I
Yeah.
listen is when I will do it. There's some people who write and learn it, right? Similarly, those are the skills in which you actually learn. Similarly, every leader has their own way of dealing with things, irrespective of which domain you are. So those are the core skills which comes in, like what kind of leader are you, how do you deal with situations, how what is your approach towards people, what is your approach towards situations, and then what are your non-negotiables. All of those becomes part of your core skills. And then obviously hard skills, right? Hard
Yeah.
skills is like, how do you see the numbers? Like how,
True.
for example, somebody tells you this is 2 and that is 5 and this is 7. You should be able to tell, okay, if I do 2 plus 5 plus 7, then divided by 30, what is going to be my things, how it is going to impact my overall business. If you're not able to contemplate that by just looking at those three numbers, then you have not developed your hard skills enough.
True.
So, I mean, as and when you grow, these are the
Yeah.
things which becomes more of intuition certain times. There are certain times when you've learned certain things in past. Then, there are emotional intelligence and the cultural question comes into picture. So all of this combination becomes your core skills. I hope I
Wow.
was able to give you an
Yeah,
analogy
no,
which makes sense.
definitely. Yes, and the examples are really helpful. They are able to provide us more better understanding of how you are trying to explain the whole idea, especially the whole technical aspect as well as the soft skills. Because personally, what I have understood till now is it's majorly soft skills which are transferable, but the analytical skills, as you said, is also very, very important. Like from now that way you explained it, I think I can understand as to how math is like the core of any and every industry. You need to know your maths, like the basics of it at least perfectly, so you can just make sense out of things easier. Then analysis is something you use everywhere. So
Yeah.
those are also transferables which we normally don't look at because you are so focused on the soft skill aspect.
Yeah. No, I think hard skill is something like, it's like, one of my mentor used to tell, it's like heart, soul, and mind game, right? Like
uh,
your soul has to be your core traits, the personality traits.
yeah.
Your heart has to be all your soft skills, and your mind has to be
Yeah.
all your hard skills. A combination of these three is what actually gives you, just not your soft skills, just not your hard
Yeah.
skills, and just not your personality. A combination of these three is what makes you unique, and a combination of these three is what you use to be able to get navigate the situations around you.
Mm. And you have often mentioned heart first leadership. So please tell us what exactly is it and what does it look like in your day-to-day work?
Yeah. So I think I already gave you a story, but I have multiple stories. I love telling stories. So I think heart first leadership is about being able to understand what the other person is going through, or when they are not able to even sometimes express. Like there was a team member of mine. She's wonderful. Okay, I'm not going to name her, but she's wonderful. And this is again from like one of my previous companies I worked with. And she was a star performer. And then suddenly I saw there was a dip in her performance. Correct. And obviously she was into a new project. She was trying to do new things. She was trying to learn the new skills. But I had seen her journey, saying irrespective of what you give her, she always outshines. And if there is a dip, there is something which is happening. So if you are not a heart first leader, or you're not an empathetic leader, the leader would approach. And again, I could be, it could be different for different people. But if I believe that I'm not a heart first leader, I would have just questioned her, like, why are you not performing?
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I actually went and I said, grab a coffee with me, let's have a conversation. What's happening? Like, is everything okay? Do you need any support? And then she bursted in tears because she gave birth to a son, and her son was diagnosed with certain ailment, and because of which, there was a lot of chaos in the family. And she was not able, because she did not have that mental peace, she was not able to learn anything new. This is
Yeah.
part and parcel, right? We bring our whole self to everywhere. When we go from office to our house, we bring our office whole self to the house. And when we
True.
come from our house to the office, we bring our whole self. So I think, yes, there has to be a balance, there has to be everything, but you as a human cannot disconnect. It's
True.
not possible to disconnect completely from what's happening at your home versus what's happening on your office. It impacts, right? So as a heart
True.
first leader, if you're not able to understand and support your team through those tough times, uh, things can go haywire. So that's what I believe, that I'm a heart first leader. I
True.
definitely have empathy. But again, it doesn't mean that I don't hold people accountable. I'm a Marwadi, right? So I'm a hardcore driven in the business. Like
Yeah.
that statement, galle mein kitna paisa aa raha hai, is so embedded in me
Yeah.
that I cannot understand the business which is making loss. Like I just cannot do it. So that's so core of me.
Definitely. And I feel that balance, both of them is needed. So the Marwadi in you gives the passion, the fire to keep the business running, and the kindness that's in you ensures that the person is treated well as well. Like, yes, I need the work done, but I'll ensure that I'm not resulting in a burnout by my leadership skills. And that's actually a beautiful example that sometimes we don't realize what's happening in the personal life aspect as to how messed up things can be in someone's house, or say anywhere, like in relationships, or say their own mental health. They are just not able to balance things in general, and it's easy to be like, hey, you're not doing the work, but let's make it easier by some or the other way. And I
Yeah.
feel that even for me, like right now, a lot of people have been very kind and helpful with the situation I am in, be it with rescheduling at the last moment, or ensuring that they are helping me by like adding me to the groups the way you did. And it's the little help that is making my life much better and easier to accommodate now.
Yeah.
So thank you for being this amazing leader that you are. And I feel that in the very start of our careers, we're just so scared to make mistakes. So, how do you think we should navigate that fear from, like, I don't want that fear to stop me from growing in my career?
I think I met Mr. Jayaraman, who was one of our professors in my MBA class, and he did this analogy, right? He's been working for 55 years, and it's amazing. He's working with UK Business Council and stuff like that. So he told me certain things, which, and I'll tell you the analogy, and then I'll tell you his statement, and then I'll tell you what happens out of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we are young, we don't know what is going to happen. You touch something which is flaming hot, correct? And then you fall down, and then you
Yeah.
forget things, and then you try again, and all of those things, right? Why do kids do that? Because they don't understand the repercussions. They don't understand how it's going to impact them. And as in when we grow, be it your career, be it your personal life or anything else, I think the experiment the ability to experiment goes down
Yes.
because we are so scared, correct?
True.
So and why are we scared? We are scared because we think that, oh my god, if we don't do this well, something's going to happen, correct?
True.
So that is one aspect of this entire thing. The second
Yeah.
aspect which I was going to talk about, Mr. Jayaraman, was like, if you are able to reflect, and if you are able to hold yourself accountable, saying, accept your mistake. Yes, that's a mistake I did, and I want to grow out of it. Go back, take that particular thing, and then when you go out of it, believe me, people will be very more than happy to see
True.
that, oh, this person understands that they did a mistake. This person is bold enough to accept the mistake. The person is conscious and cognitively very clear that
Yes.
they grow out of that mistake. And then fourth one is that person is so self-assured that they are coming to you and telling you, how do I get out of this? So I think a combination of this is what helps people to make sure that they are able to see. And it's not like nobody does mistake. Everybody does mistake. It is just
True.
the accountability what you have on yourself as a person, That makes a lot of difference. So anybody who's starting their career, it's very normal and it's very humanly natural feeling that you're scared that you might do something which is not good, which might have an problem. But I think that is what makes us alive. That is what makes us saying, oh, we have to make sure that we get into a place where we are able to keep it forward, but don't get to a level of perfection, because perfection is what kills the curiosity. So it's okay if you are doing a mistake. If a mistake happened, it's okay. Go back, accept it, talk to your colleagues, your seniors, your advisors, your mentors, and then get out of it. Learn things and then go out. There was one particular person in my life who told me this, Mr. Madhavan. He told me that either you learn or you win. There is no failure.
Wow. Okay, that's actually beautiful.
So you either win the situation and you get out, or else you learn from the situation and you get out. There is nothing to fail in that. So I think if you keep this particular statement, in your mind as a career professional, either you're learning things or you're winning things, and it's perfectly all right.
Yeah. And that's actually something that's gonna help us stay motivated. But I have one question. I feel that we're at an age where, so 22, 23 to be very specific, is the age where you're closer to 25, which is expected by the society to be the age where you're settled. I don't want to sound very biased, but I feel especially in India, the pressure is crazy. So I was in Belgium, and that time I feel I was around people who felt it was still normal to figure it out. Like, it's okay, you can not have it together, but you can experiment and try different sectors and be like, okay, I finally like this one. But now that I've moved back, I feel pressured because I feel many of my friends have it figured out. It's just in words, but like they have their degrees. Most of them engineers. They have their degrees, they have their first job, and they're like earning. And I am still doing my master's. I agree it's still good. But I feel that sense of, oh, I don't have a job yet. I don't have it figured out. And especially the sector that I picked is not that common in India. So I get questioned more and more, and I can't lie, I feel very overwhelmed. As well as I keep questioning if I made a wrong choice or mistake because I didn't go for the standard path which everyone is taking. Now, I would love to know, how do I deal with this feeling of overwhelming idea, I would say.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's not a very nice feeling to have.
I know. I can totally relate to it, because I think somehow society always, irrespective of, it's not like they're doing it on purpose. It's just that
Yeah.
they've been doing this and they don't even know that they're doing this, and they do it. So I always believe that there is no full stop. So there is always you can always go and figure things out. And there is, life is like an onion, Ayushi, you keep peeling the layers and you say, oh, now I'm good to go. And then you realize, oh, this is one more layer I need to peel. And then you like another 5 years, 10 years, and like, yeah, I'm all figured out, I'm all settled. And life hits you with a slap, and then you're like, oh, there's another 2 layers I need to peel. So you will always have this feeling of being unsettled until the day comes. I believe story of Nika's founder is I don't know if you have heard or read about her. So you
Please
should
tell us
definitely
more.
read about her. You should
Yeah.
read about her. So she's a person, she was about to retire, and then she started Nika.
Okay, wow.
And same is the case with the person who actually started Forest Essentials. So, they're all about to retire. They're in their 60s and their 70s and their 50s. And they're like, oh, I did this for long enough. I want to do something different. And then, boom, they are completely changing everything. So I don't think that there is always, this is what I want to do. No, you can always, have a different way of looking at things. That's one part of it. The second part of it, how do you deal with this overwhelming feeling? Well, first is to accept that you are overwhelmed. The second is to being able to talk to yourself and categorize why you're feeling what you're feeling. Is this just a feeling, or is it it's something which is bothering you. If it is bothering you, I'm a very big pros and cons kind of a person, right? So if I want to take a decision, I always write, okay, if I take this decisions, what are the pros? And if I take this decision, what are the cons? And there have been times where I've gone like 90% cons, but this is what I feel like doing if I'm going to be doing it, correct? Because
Yeah.
it's a choice what you're making. Similarly, getting people, letting people get to you is a choice you are having. So if you are not letting people get to
Yeah.
you, irrespective of what age you are, irrespective of what things you are, until unless you are sorted, you sorted in your own head, and you know that you these are your priorities and these are the things which you've figured out. Doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter what you're doing. I think it's all about that.
True. And I personally agree, and I definitely understand where you're coming from. But now, when we say you're talking about Nika and people like that, as you said, they're retiring. It means that they have spent like some really good amount of years working, right? But my question is about that starting aspect, which me and many other people like us are in, where we see and see. There are times it's not even people talking, it's literally us seeing it. So when I see my friends who followed the standard track, engineering, MBA, a very high paying JP Morgan job, I feel that. No one said it, no words, nothing. But I saw that progress. And then I'm like, if I had done something like this, then would I be there too? Or I don't know. See, I personally agree that there are a lot of success stories to get inspired from. But then there are also some really not successful stories which never come out. And at this age, I feel we are more on the negative aspect where we feel, what if I'm one of those negative stories which didn't work out? So, my question is, how do we balance or ensure that sense of I'm doing my best, it's going to work out, and I'm going to try 100% to make it work?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I hear you. So I'm just trying to find the right words. So one should never be in competition with anybody.
Yeah.
First, second thing is saying that is easy. It's not when you like, for example, in my family, everybody is
Yeah.
like a either they have like a book world record, or they are a national level champions, and
Wow.
they figured out stuff and they're earning. My younger sister, who is like 10 years younger to me, makes double the amount I make. It's not easy. It's not easy. Believe me, it's not easy. But then, whom are you racing against? Whom are you trying to do? What is that you want to do in your life is something which
True.
is more important to dwell upon. So
Definitely.
and what is your career currency? Like for me, my career currency is not money. My career currency is the kind of help I'm able to do. I'm able to impact somebody's life. That's my career currency. I really enjoy that particular
Yeah.
moment where I'm able to,
Yeah.
transform somebody's life. I'm able to help
True.
somebody's life, help somebody. So similarly, I think as an individual, especially in your generation, you need to figure out certain. I mean, like you guys are blessed that you have access to such level of information that
Internet.
you guys can dwell upon this kind of
Yeah.
conversations within yourself,
True.
so that you know what to do, what not to do. Right now, coming
True.
back to, yes, there are standard paths you can follow, and you can do, like for example, I did the standard path. I did my engineering, got into a job, got the salary. My sister did engineering and she didn't. She did her engineering, and then she did her master's in English literature, and then she did her PhD in strategic communication. She actually had an event management company.
Yeah.
Then she went into branding, and she get like
Oh my.
she's
Wow.
like she's everywhere according to me. But I
Yeah.
think that is what makes her alive. That is what keeps her pushing.
Yeah.
So one to its own, right? So
Yeah.
now I've given you a couple of bits. Now I'll come back to your original question, right? It's that how does this one feel that when somebody is around you doing certain things, you will have to really understand, Ayushi, what matters to you, and what kind of choices and what kind of sacrifices you are okay to make. Like for example, there's nothing wrong in following a standard path. It's absolutely all right. Somebody is doing engineering, somebody is doing this, and they're able to do the JP Morgan job, able to do Morgan Stanley. It's
Yeah.
perfectly all right if they are satisfied, if that is what they want in their life. And if they don't want it, but their family situation needs it or their own personal situation needs it, they're going to do that. And then they probably figure out later